to life. Why are you afraid? What's it gonna do? Scared that you may change? Isn't that the truth? Who are you to say you're not gonna win?
Peace and blessings, power people. It is Thema Azize Serwa, the Womb Sauna practitioner, and I am up before the sun has risen on this blessed day, and I am choosing to reflect what is being experienced for every woman who feels like she has to close the gap on what her man is unable to do. I want you to go ahead and, while you listen to this, take a deep breath. Place your hand, it doesn't matter which hand. Let's do this so we can unite in this energy. Take your left hand, place it over the center of your chest. Take a deep breath and say, I have to do me first, all the time, unapologetically. You know, I love to watch Iyanla Fix My Life, and I watched an episode about the family, the 18-year-old girl who had wrote Iyanla asking for help because her mom and dad were talking about divorce, and it was the episode where on the commercials, Iyanla was saying, "You emasculate him, yes you do," you know. Anyway, that was a running joke in my home. We were copying how Iyanla passionately said that, but I recorded, and I finally got a chance to sit down and watch it, and it was a mirror in my face, and I've been very transparent about my journey and my love life from being with the man who I grew up with, literally, and came into my life when I was 14, and we got married a month after I graduated from college, and we also got divorced. And now, I'm in my new love experience. So anyway, in watching that episode, I could identify with what Iyanla was counseling the wife on. She was trying to explain to her that you emasculate your man. And it reminded me of a lesson that one of my sisters had brought to me about find him right. So what is the point here, ladies? I know I have some men who will absolutely listen to this, but this is really a call to action for women. I am going to hold this space as a virtual mirror reflecting to you through my own heart and experiences what you may need to master within yourself as well. When you start to find yourself living and thinking every day about his shit, and excuse me, any elders that may be listening, but I use the language to emphasize the depth of energy, how it shows up in our minds a lot of times. When you find yourself constantly, sometimes even obsessively, managing his shit, it is not him that is out of order. It is you, my love. And it is time for you to return to yourself. See, as women, we have a direct connection to our Creator, and we can birth anything on a mental, physical, or spiritual level because we have that naturally God-given creative womb, cosmic power circulating in us. And most of us have not mastered how to live activating that energy when we need it. As the representative and the embodiment of the divine feminine principle on this earth, on this planet, it is our responsibility to, when we identify where masculinity is lacking, or where the modern woman is calling the grown boy syndrome, it is not our job to come in and be the grown man. And it's not our job to come in and be the masculine presence, because all things are born through the womb. It is actually our job to bring in femininity. And most of us come from mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers who grew up in a time where that opportunity was taken from them by force. Especially if you're an African American woman in America, you're dealing with ancestral residue of that post-traumatic slave syndrome, where you watched master emasculate your man, and you watched yourself be abused, and your man had no power over it, and something in you activated and said, I need to compensate. I have to compensate. We can die. I can die. So that energy still circulates for some of us until the ancestral healing in our bloodlines takes place. We can get to that in a moment. But before we get to that work, we got to first get to just simply being in the practice of putting ourselves first. A lot of times we can find a broken man and know he is broken and make a covenant with him anyway, and then punish him later for not unbreaking himself on our timeline. Ladies, let me tell you, we're in an age where over 75 million people in America alone have been diagnosed as infertile and are unable to lay down and get up pregnant. We are in an age where women are losing their reproductive functionality. The rates for hysterectomies and the rates for cancers and all of these different things are just startling. Hear me. In this age of awakening, it's time to do the work. It will work when you work it. When you are avoiding your lessons and you are focusing all of your energy on everything external, then the lesson will continue to return to you. So yeah, you may be someone who's in a relationship feeling like, I have to pick up the slack of my man because he's not there. He doesn't have the capacity. He doesn't do what's necessary for survival. I have to hold everything down. That may be your storyboard. That may be your experience. So focusing on that vibration and what he is or is not doing is not going to serve you well. Doesn't mean that you become naive and just ignore things. That's not what I am saying at all. But I am saying that where the energy goes, the power flows. So if you know who you're dealing with, then it could be that this is a lesson for you on how to return to yourself, how to get back to you, how to master keeping your vibration high, being loving, being compassionate, being who you are, not taking somebody else's lesson on and taking it so personal that you shift who you have chosen to be. Okay? And one or two things that happen, and this is something that I tell my clients, even when they come for the Womb Sauna services and we talk about relationships and a lack of balance, a lack of my odds in these relationships. I tell these women whether he does his work or not has nothing to do with you. Because one or two things will happen when you focus on yourself. Either you shift and you start raising that vibration, and he sees that, experiences that, and says, wow, if I am going to remain in covenant with this woman, I need to get to work on myself. Or you shift your vibration and it shifts the experience. And maybe the covenant no longer remains. But let me tell you this, my sisters. The lesson will never go away because the universe loves you so much that it will continue to present it to you. So I know the storyboard. I know what it's like. Hear me, I do. I know what it's like to go from relationship to relationship to relationship. And it starts off good and it looks like you're going from one realm higher to the next. You feel like, oh, I mastered in the last one. 6 months pass, a year pass, and you're like, wait a minute. This feels just like what I experienced with Boo Boo the Fool 10 years ago. And so what you have to be ready to accept, you have to be ready to accept that, Lord have mercy, the men have changed, but I am the common denominator in this experience. So what's the lesson? And you have to be ready to see the lesson and make the decision to master it. And when you don't, you recreate all of the subtle, unearthed psychological patterns, emotional patterns, and unresolved storyboards that have led you to where you are today. So, my sisters, I dare you. I dare you to do you first, all the time, unapologetically, and witness the fruit of that in your love life. I challenge you to take your hands off of that man and take the pants off, to go within yourself and learn how to master the ancient art of being feminine and the power of femininity, the power of keeping the skirt on, and what that can do and the kind of fruit that can bear in your love life. I challenge you to not succumb to depression, to anger, to sadness, and uphold pleasure in your life, regardless on what's happening in somebody else's life's lesson. I encourage you to be forgiving of yourself, to not punish yourself for choosing the man that you have chosen, because your soul knows that you need to master this lesson. So let's free up today. Let's raise the vibration. Let's bring in and call in some joy into our lives. Let's do what we need to do to transform our experiences. Heal by any means necessary. Do the work. It will work when you work it. And to my brothers who are listening, to my brothers who have abandoned their women because of their own pain, who have lived the lives that's got them to a point where they don't know where to even start with their work. Get the help, get the resources you need. I just laid into the women. I just called to their attention that, hey, we got to do better. And we are going to do better. But, brothers, it's hard being a woman in this age with men in your life who don't protect you, who abandon you, and who are broken. The universe is calling for balance between the yin and the yang. These babies are not coming through the wombs like they did before because they are requiring that we raise our spiritual vibration. Community, people, listen, we got some work to do. I'm excited about it because I know that this world is going to change. So, I love each and every one of you. From my womb to you, I send peace. I send unconditional love. I love you just because you are here. You are present and accounted for. And go ahead and put your left hand back over your chest. Take another deep breath and say, I'm ready. I'm ready to transform. I'm ready to shift this thing. I'm ready to get to work. And some of the tools and resources that you have, I absolutely don't think that just sitting inside of your own head is enough. I do think that you have to set the intention and make a covenant with yourself, and then you have to actually take tangible, measurable action. So you may need some counseling. Go get counseling. Be surprised how impactful that can be. You may need to make some nutritional shifts because what you're eating may be lowering your vibration and your capacity to have enough energy to even make a commitment to change. Okay? You have to get your butt up off the couch, get from in front of the television, get from off of Facebook in this fake reality, this virtual world that seems so pacifying. You'd be surprised how many people are addicted to social media and porn and all of these other things, trying to numb their pain. It does not work. And because that does not work, that's creating the fruit you're seeing in your life, the unhappiness, the lack of joy, the lack of love, the lack of companionship, the feelings of loneliness. You are creating it, my dear, by repeating actions that don't serve you well. So, let's get to work. Take advantage of those resources. Be spiritually grounded. Be a part of a community that provides resources and helps with spirituality. Do those things. It's important. It's important. So, with that being said, I'm going to invoke some higher power into this space that we are sharing right now. To the Most High, to our ancestors, to those who are of light and of love and of peace. If there is a woman or a man listening to this that has to also master the lesson of being true to yourself, even within a relationship, putting yourself as a priority so that you can show up in that relationship with your cup full and overflowing. To you, to the person who is connected with this, who is mastering that lesson now, do the work. It'll work when you work it. In spirit, I ask to my spiritual guides, to the Most High God, our Creator, Creatress, to our ancestors of light, I just ask that you provide all the resources and support and wisdom and knowledge necessary for the person who is ready to make that kind of commitment to fulfill it. And I give thanks knowing that our world is changing and that our storyboards about the overpowering woman and the underdeveloped man are shifting. And as they shift, things get better. And so for that, Most High, I give thanks. and I celebrate the revelation, and I celebrate the transformation that comes as a result of us knowing what we know. And when we know to do better, we do better. Thank you for all the help and everything opening up and unlocking for us to do just that. All right, power people, I'm going to get to my day. I just watched, as I was chatting with you, the sun come up. And it was metaphoric for me. It symbolized how sometimes we go through the valley, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel, baby. You better know it. So enjoy your day. I send love to you and get to work. Peace.